What year did you graduate?
I graduated in the year 1982.
And how many years did you play?
I played my freshman throughout my senior year, 4 years, played 4 years.
Who was your basketball coach?
Coach Lee Kabuti was my coach.
Tell us a little bit about Lee Kabuti.
Well, Lee Kabuti he was a pretty strict guy. He made sure we stayed focused somehow. He got our attention somehow. He's a pretty good coach.
Okay.
I can say a lot of good things.
Well, how good were the teams when you played?
Teams are pretty good. Can't really tell you a record, but we had a lot of talent on our team. We actually should have went to Assembly Hall a year, my senior year, but we never made it. But our team leaders were like Joe Stovall, Anthony Allen, Danny Turner. We had a nice squad. It's pretty nice.
Then what would you say was the highlight of your high school basketball career?
You mean just like one moment?
Your best memory?
Well, one of my best memories was a crosstown rivalry with Urbana High School, and the gym was packed full. I could jump out of the gym a little bit, right? So I took and blocked the shot instead of grabbing it, throwing it down. I knocked it way up in the stands, and everybody stood up and went crazy. That's one of my most memorable moments.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it's great.
Do you have anything else you want to tell the camera?
It's a wonderful school. I hope all the students graduate.
All right.
Peace.
What's your name?
Hi, my name is Sandra Washington. I graduated in 1983. Our coach was Tony Harris, and he was an excellent coach. He made us work really hard. It was just fun. You know, he made us work, but it was fun because he had fun with us. My most memorable moment is in that gym when he made me, we were on our way to a game, and he made me, I was real clumsy. I was really clumsy with the ball, and I was shooting layups. And I had to shoot 10 in a row without missing. I would get almost there, and then I would miss it. He made me start all over. So we did that for a long time in front of the guys. And, you know, that was my most memorable moment.
That'd be a good one. Well, here, stop it real quick. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, tell us your name.
Hi, my name is Sandra Washington. I graduated in 1983. I was under the coach of Tony Harris. Our record was pretty good. You know, we weren't really bad. My most memorable moment was when we were in the gym, the boys' gym, and we were on our way to an away game. And Mr. Harris I was kind of clumsy with my fingers, and I would miss the ball. And so he made me do like 10 layups in a row. And I'd get almost there, and he would make me miss one, and he would make me start all over. And I had to do that. I think I must have did it for about an hour before, you know, we got ready to go, until I finally got 10 in a row.
So who are some of the team leaders?
Well, we have Renee Cook. In her honor, you know, I'd like to say we miss her. You know, she passed, and she was one of our leaders. Christopher was another leader. We had a girl on our team named Pat Lane. She was a really good quick guard. She was really good. Kim Neither. You know, I was the rebounder. I was our lead rebounder and jumper, so that was me. But yeah, we did good.
That's great.
Stand, but
I'm getting ready to go to law school in the fall. We're going to ask you what...
let me think about that now. Is that what you're going to ask everybody?
Yes. And it's all going to be cut and pasted, and you know, it's not going to be just a straight interview on the video we're making. It'll be just little bits and pieces. So
You won't put the whole thing in necessarily?
not necessarily.
Yeah, because if I thought this was honoring me, don't ask the questions and all.
What's your name?
Dick Patterson with one T, P-A-T-E-R-S-O-N,
When did you graduate?
1945.
How many years did you play basketball here?
I was a starter my junior year at guard, and I was a forward on the 44-45 senior year.
Okay, was that a team that went to state?
Both teams went
Both
to state. Yeah.
Okay, great. Who was your basketball coach?
Harry Combs.
And tell us a little bit about Harry Combs as a coach.
Well, I don't know what I could add to what already has been said about Coach Harry Combs. He went on to university, and everybody in the community still remembers him. He was a brilliant game coach, game time on the bench. He knew when to substitute, and that followed him all the way to Illinois. I mean, he was one of the great coaches in the game.
Well, how good were the teams that you played on as far as records? You went to state. Tell us a little about the teams.
My junior year, I think we lost 6 games is all. I don't know remember how many wins, but we were up in the 20s, 24, 25, and 6 losses. 4 of those were to Taylorville, who ultimately, they were the first undefeated team. They went 45-0, the first undefeated team in the state. And we played them in the semifinals, and they only beat us 4 points, so that was probably the championship game. That was my junior year. My senior year, Jesse Clements, Ted Beach, Jim Cottrell. And that was the year when we were down to 7 players. After the first couple of games, we only had 7 players. And we finished second to Decatur. We had 2 losses that year. Both of them were to Decatur on their court. No, one was in the finals of the state, and the other was, we played them twice on their court. They beat us the first time by 2 points, and we beat them the second time. We were ranked #1 the whole year after that, really.
Wow. And then lost to them in the finals.
Well, and I always felt that if we could have, I wanted to get them on a neutral floor and be full strength, but we didn't have the gas to do it.
What was the highlight of your basketball career personally? The best memory or the funnest time? What do you remember the most?
Oh, it's hard to tell. My junior year, we used a man-to-man press, not a switching, but not a zone press where you're doubling up. You each had your own man. And so we did a lot of shifting, but my junior year, we didn't play that way. I got the opposing scorer on the other team all the time, and that was a real thrill to me to shut those guys down. Mm-hmm. And but my overall thrill is hard to point at one thing. It was the total experience. We all grew up together. Ted and Jim and Jesse went through the grade school program here together. Played on the same team or against each other, and it was the whole experience that was real rewarding for me.
Well, do you have any other thoughts to add? Any stories you want to tell, or anything about the tradition or history?
Well, I think the important thing is this team tonight. It's not me or our team or any of those, and the players that are playing now. But having said that, I think that this school enjoys one of the real traditions. Not just in basketball, but in all sports. We were the first school in the United States to have 500 football victories and 1,000 basketball victories. Well, that's been carried on now. There's a lot more, and that's the kind of tradition. And I think that once in a while you need to look back and realize what that tradition is, and that's what John Wood has been doing, putting up plaques so that when freshmen come in, the kids, when they come in, they don't need to just read about something. They can actually look and see, go through Seeley Hall and see what tradition the school has, because there isn't very many schools that have the tradition that this school has.
Here in Illinois.
Okay. What years did you coach here?
Here I started the 56-57 season, and I retired in 85.
Okay. Tell us about some of the more memorable teams that you coached.
Oh, gosh. You know, probably the team that I remember the most, I was probably in 60-61. They were called the Mighty Midgets. It's a little team, 5'4", 5'7", 2 guys 5'8", and 1 6 foot.
Wow.
And we won about 21 games, got beaten overtime in the sectional finals. So that was a very outstanding team, and I guess the reason I remember that team is because I was playing 4 black kids, and that was kind of unheard of. And I got a lot of flack from the fans, and they'd call my house, and if I answered, it'd be nigger lover. And if my wife answered, how you might be married to a nigger lover. And I went to see the athletic director, and I told him I was leaving. I was going back to Heron. Hey, I could go back there as the high school principal or the athletic director. And he said, why? And I told him, he said, that's going to wear out. And soon after then, you start seeing more and more black kids. They never had over probably 1 black kid play on a team here. So that team, I think they played harder because they knew some of the pressure I had going through, and that's probably one of my favorite teams. Of course, had 3 other teams that played in the Assembly Hall. You can't forget the team we had in 69-70, won 30 and lost 4, and got beat by 1 point in the semifinals of the state tournament. Could have won it all, but the state still doesn't seed those final 8 teams, and they had 3. When the season ended, Proviso East was rated 1, Galesburg 2, and we were rated 3, and we were all 3 in the upper bracket. And then in the bottom bracket was Peoria Spalding, where they weren't very good. And then Proviso beat us, and in the finals, they beat Spalding by about 35 points. So, those teams stand out. But there's something about every team you coach that you like. Pretty difficult to pick out certain teams.
Well, then what was the highlight of your coaching career?
Oh, I don't know. I tell you, I think having the opportunity to coach at this school is a very nice, fine school to coach in, good administrators, good teachers, and I had bad years, but they didn't try to run me out of town, and they remembered I was the same coach that was coaching when we had some talent, and I never had a kid in it go ineligible, and I think the teachers understood that the coaches put the kids' academics first, and kid could get by with a lot, but he better not smart off to a teacher. He had a big problem, and the teachers knew that, so they'd give kids extra work. So it's just a combination of a lot of things. We like this community, and you got to play second fiddle to the university, but that's not bad when you have a bad team. And but there's a lot going on in this community, and both socially and entertainment-wise, and with the university, and we just really enjoyed our team, and had a great coaching staff. Most of the coaches that I coached with are in the Hall of Fame of their sports, and I was also the athletic director for 25 years, and so that was also a pleasure, and having the opportunity to work with these fine men.
We're looking at you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us your name?
Jay Langdon. I played from 1999 to 2003.
And who was your basketball coach here?
I played varsity under Coach Davis, and I played freshman ball under Coach Woods and sophomore ball under Coach Lavin.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Coach Davis, your varsity coach?
Coach Davis, he's a fiery guy, and he loves to yell. One thing I remember about Coach Davis is he always thought he could play with us as far as just playing around during practice, and he never really could. I had a teammate, Brett Schnepper, who used to play against him one-on-one all the time, and he would always get beat badly, but he was always good on free throws. I remember that. So he used to make bets. If he would win on the free throws, we wouldn't have to run, or if he would shoot the free throws and make them, we didn't have to run. And he always took Davis on that deal because it always make his free throws.
Nice. Well, how good were your teams, varsity teams?
My varsity teams were very good. My junior year, we actually won a share of the Big 12 title with I think we shared with Wilmer West. And we had a lot of good players on that team. Eric Berge and Dodd Browning and Dan Thurston. Quentin Robbins, they go on and on. James Brown. And that was a special year. And we had a really good year. My senior year, we... sorry.
Here, hold on.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm good in my senior year.
Okay.
My senior year was good as well. We actually had about the same record as we did my junior year, and we had a pretty inexperienced squad, but we came around near. We started out real strong. I had a little wave in the middle of the season, but later on we finished strong, and we ended up beating Centennial, I think, that year 3 out of 4 times. That was a highlight.
Who are the team leaders?
I think we had a couple. The seniors were definitely the team leaders. Me and B.J. Carter-Williams, Jeremy Kreidner, and Brett Schnepper. We were all the team leaders, and we led that team pretty well, I think.
And so when you look back over your years here at Central Basketball, what was the highlight?
Well, I got 2 highlights. One is winning the Big 12 as a junior. I think that's a big highlight. And another one was when we were seniors here at Central in the senior season at Centennial. We were playing a game at Centennial. It was the last time we were going to play them all year. We got down 18 points in the second half. And we are just playing awful. I mean, we can't hit a thing. And we finally caught fire there in midway through the third quarter. It ended up winning the game by 4 points, and it was one of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen, especially in a hostile environment like that. So that was probably my highlight of my senior season.
So do you have any closing thoughts for the camera?
I'm just thankful to be part of such a tradition that is Champaign Central basketball. It's so great to be a part of something that's so special. And I'm always going to remember my years here at Central, and I thank everyone that's played here.
All right. Will you tell us your name?
Hans P. Saline,
And what year did you graduate?
1936.
And how many years did you play basketball here?
Well, I played 4 years, but only varsity for 2.
Okay. And who was your coach?
Lester Moyer.
And tell us a little bit about Les Moyer.
Well, he was kind of tough. He was primarily a football coach. He wasn't very well versed on basketball. He just sort of threw the ball out and said, "Go play." But he was a good judge of character and things, ability and things like that. But he wasn't a technician like Harry Combs was.
Well, how good were your teams that you played on?
Not very good.
Well, who were some of the other team members, the team leaders? Some of the guys that were pretty good.
Our captain was Bob Bates.
Okay.
And then we had a player named Dale Trees who transferred up here from Sydney. In those days, Sydney and a lot of small towns had 3-year high schools. They would go somewhere else for their 4th year, and he came up here from Sydney. And he and Bates were probably our better players at that time.
What position did you play?
I played guard and center. Yeah.
Well, what was the highlight of your basketball career as you look back?
Well, I don't know if there were any highlight. One thing that sticks out in my mind, the year that we played, my senior year was the first year that we had this gym. Combs was not called Combs Gym. We had a dedication game against Danville sometime around Christmas. I think it was either just before or just after Christmas that year. And we got beat. But that year Danville had a team that went undefeated till the final game of the state tournament. But we almost beat them both times. And that stands out in my mind. One thing that stands out, the first game we played in here, Moyer arranged some kind of a double header. He split the squad into 2 squads of 8. And one squad played Muhammad, and I think the other one played Fisher High School. And one of the men, Clarence Foster was his name, was dribbling down the floor, and all of a sudden the lights went out. I can still hear him laugh, but I remember that. That's been in my mind forever, I guess.
And my last question, what does it feel like to be a part of 100 years of basketball here at this high school?
Well, I've been thinking about it since I read about it and since I called. And I don't know how I feel exactly, but I tried to think if there were any my teammates left. And there aren't. In fact, the team the succeeding year, class of 37, there are none of them left. And it makes you feel a little, I don't know, strange, I guess. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, will you tell us your name?
Hi, Ted Beach, class of 1947.
And how many years did you play basketball here?
3 years here in the varsity.
And how good were the teams you played on?
Well, I think they're pretty good. Our 3-year record was 106-7, and we had 2 second-place finishes and 1 first-place finish in the state. So we played in the state championship game 3 straight years.
Wow. And who were some of the other players on the team?
Well, my sophomore year, our leaders were Jesse Clemens, Dick Patterson, Dick Kelly. My junior year, Jim Cottrell, Earl Harrison. And my classmates were Fred Major and John McDermott. And then Rod Fletcher was a sophomore, came in, he was a year behind us. So we had a pretty good group.
And what position did you play?
I played forward.
Forward.
6'1" forward. A little different than it is today.
Who was your coach?
Harry Combs.
And tell us about Harry Combs as a coach.
This building's named for him, this gym. And of course he was here for 9 years. He won 85% of his games here at Champaign High School. And then the year I graduated, he was selected as coach at the University of Illinois. So he had a great career over there for 20 years. He's in the Hall of Fame. So I think I was pretty fortunate to be able to play for him for 7 straight years. You don't usually play for the same coach for 7 straight years.
What was the highlight of your career as you look back?
Oh, I think winning the state championship, obviously, because that was something that Harry's teams and even the teams back in the 20s and 30s at Champaign, they had some second place finishes and always came close. And We finished second in 1945 when we finished the tournament with only 7 players. We had 3 guys get injured. At that time, you couldn't replace injured players in the tournament, so we played the championship game with 7 players and lost. So those of us who were coming back, we kind of dedicated ourselves and the team and the school to winning the tournament the next year, and we were fortunate enough to do that, 1946.
Well, what does it feel like to be a part of the 100-year tradition?
Oh, it's great to come back. I'm not that far away since I live right here in Champaign. I've come to several games this year, and I think they've got a great team, and looks like they've got some good teams coming up in future years. But glad to be a part of it as part of the 100-year anniversary at the university, and now to come back here, well, it's a nice opportunity. Looking forward to it.
Can you tell us your name?
My name is Becky Beach,
And what year did you graduate?
1974.
And how many years did you play basketball?
I played on the first girls team, so we only played 5 games.
Okay. And who was your coach?
Betty Teal.
Do you remember anything about her? Can you tell us something about her?
I don't remember much. I mean, Mrs. Miller was a PE teacher who started the basketball program. So we just had played 5 games. I think she's taught someplace else, like Garden Hills or something.
Okay. How good was the team during those 5
We were
years?
5-0.
Wow. Who were some of the other players on the team?
Oh, there's Barb Babb and Jan Anderson and Teresa Cochran and Melissa Breen.
And what position did you play?
Forward. Yeah.
So over those 5 games, what was the highlight?
We beat Bloomington in quadruple overtime.
Wow.
It was a very long game.
And then how does it feel to know that you're a part of the very first team, girls team here?
It's good. I keep watching them, see how they're doing. I have for all those years. I'm just glad we got to play 5 games instead of none. Had to start somewhere. So.
And then what's it like to know you're part of a 100-year tradition of basketball?
Good, especially with Dad playing
Uh-huh.
and a few years before me.
Well, do you have any other comments for the camera? Anything about
Not
it?
really. Just glad to be back.
Okay.
Celebrating.
That'll
Thanks.
work.
All right.
Will you tell us your name?
My name is Antonio Reynolds,
And what year did you graduate?
class of 1996.
And how many years did you play basketball here?
I played 3 years varsity.
And who was your basketball coach?
Scott Davis.
Tell us a little bit about Coach Davis.
Actually, Coach Davis picked me up. He saw me play a few games freshman basketball. He liked my game, so he moved me up to JV my freshman year. So I got that experience. And my sophomore year, I played with Anthony Coombs, a lot of veteran guys. I got a lot of experience doing that. So Davis had confidence in me early. So he took a chance. I was one of the first ones to get moved up early, and it started a cycle for young kids playing on varsity. Fiery coach, real fiery, a lot of attitude. Defensive guy. He's a defensive coach. So fair coach, players coach. So.
Cool. Well, how good were some of the teams you played on?
My sophomore year, we were pretty good. We finished like 2nd or 3rd in the Big 12. My junior year, we lost all our seniors, so I was the only returning starter from that team. So we had a down year, but that was experience for me. Our senior year, we finished middle conference. So we weren't too bad. I was all area pick my senior year, all conference pick.
Who were some of the other team leaders?
Nate Mass, my senior year, he was our point guard. Me, oh man, I played with J.D. Lehman. David Freeman, Anthony Coombs.
Okay.
All those guys.
Well, as you look back then at the time you played basketball, what was a highlight?
I would say the rivalry games,
Yeah.
Urbana Centennial. I played real well in those games, and the Centralia tournament. Been doing that for years, so that's always fun on holiday time.
And then, so how does it feel to know that you're part of a 100-year basketball tradition?
I'm a basketball junkie, so it feels good. It feels good to be a part of it. I've been coming to the game since I graduated. My little brother played for us. Robert Reynolds, he's not able to be here, but he was excellent ball player also. So just keep it going. My cousin, LaConte Nix, he's a coach. It's just family.
Yep.
Basically family.
Great. Okay, will you tell us your name, please?
It's Atris Dixon,
And what year did you graduate?
1957.
And how many years did you play?
I played 2 years. Well, freshman, I believe all of them was not up under Caboody and stuff and everything.
So who was your coach?
Lee Caboody.
Can you tell us a little bit about Lee Caboody as a coach?
Well, I thought he's a very, very great person. When he came here, he was kind of strict on us, and we kind of had to go by the rules and everything. And he came out and watched us play when he first come in and everything. I thought he was great. And through life, he's been a very good friend of mine. My wife and his wife worked together all those years, so I kind of kept in contact and stuff and knew everything and everything. Very great.
Well, how good were some of those teams you played on?
Well, the 1957 is when we went to the tournament, the state tournament. The Elite 8 was back then in 57. And we had to be pretty good. We had a pretty good record. We had 26 and 5. So that we kept the gym full. I had that. Kept the gym full.
Who were some of the team leaders?
Well, it was we had our captain, which was Johnny Easterbrook, and Don Hepler, and Sidney Johnson, and Larry Cannon, and myself. We was a 5, and we kind of way we played. We was kind of team player and everything. We was so good that we decided after the season got going and stuff that we would come in earlier at 6 o'clock and do our practice and stuff and everything, and kind of get down pat everything what we were doing. So we thought that was real great.
Well, as you look back then on your time here playing basketball, what was 1 or 2 highlights?
Well, the highlights was great school. We had a lot of fun and a lot of kids, and everybody got along together and everything. It was real great.
Probably the state tournament was a highlight. I bet.
It was the best. That we got a chance to walk around school a few days with our chest stuck out and didn't have to do nothing. So that was a good point about it.
And what's it feel like coming back here tonight? 100 years of tradition. How does it feel to be a part of that?
Well, it feels good to be a part of that, but I come see a lot of the games anyway. Not just tonight. There's several times that I come back and watch the kids play and everything.
Oh, great.